this has sort of actually gone to the seedings because Sabalenka is still in there, Coco Gauff's still in there, Iga Swiatek's still in there, Elena Rybakina is still in there. All the top seeds are basically are in there. We've got Madison Keys as well, the Australian Open champion. Let's talk about Iga Swiatek first because she is a two-time champion here. Her win-loss record is 18-1, and yet her last title on the tour, I believe, was the French Open last year.
That's
So,
true, yeah.
do you think that of kind of the favorites or the big names, do you feel like Iga Swiatek has the most like on the line or the most to gain from this tournament, given the drought that she has had?
I think she's got to be a lot more aware of that than we were. It doesn't feel like she hasn't won in such a long time. And bear in mind, she was match point down at Roland Garros, so that almost didn't happen. So it does feel like maybe it's going a bit under the surface, or people aren't really realizing this is the case, that the dominance is still there because she is winning matches 6-love, 6-2, lots of bagels, lots of breadsticks being handed out. So it does make me think that potentially there's a problem because she's able to defeat the players, top 30 players, dispatch them easily. And then you get into these sort of tricky encounters that she seems to lose. So for her, the conditions being the way that they are, people are saying it plays like a clay court.
Clay court. I don't.
Right?
Are we in Paris? Is this Paris Springs?
Well, Venus is in Paris, so maybe she would win that tournament. But I think it's got to be playing to her favor in terms of the time she'll have on the ball, how much harder it is to get the ball through the court. And also like the high bounce is something that she really quite likes. So it does favor those who stay in the rally, low unforced errors, or those that really thump the ball a bit like a clay court. You can hit through it if you would like to. And Iga does need a title because it's been a while. It's been a while since she's had such a long period. I think since she won her first title, it's the longest period she's gone without a title. So that is of note.
Definitely. And very intriguing matchup against Mukova. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that in the second half. But just talking about the Americans, I mean, Jessica Pegula is still in there, but a lot of talk in the build-up was on Madison Keys because this is her first tournament since becoming Australian Open champion. She had a very good win against the durable, ever-present sort of round 3 competitor, Elise Mertens. Had a slight wobble in that second set. I think she was a set and 3-love up, but eventually came through 6-4 in the third. What have you made of Madison Keys so far in this tournament with this new title as Grand Slam champion bestowed upon her?
I've been very impressed. I think it would be quite easy to go out early. I think she said she had a bit of an existential crisis having won the slam. So having the time off, I think, made a lot of sense. It's very smart. I think Raducanu should have done that when she won her first slam. I don't think she should have played the rest of the year. I think she should have built up to the next season. I think it is definitely a good way of looking at it is the next time you play, some of that pressure is off. You're at home. It's a big tournament. It feels like the way that big players should manage their schedule. And she's got the wins. I think Mertens, she was up playing very well, but she's actually never beaten Mertens. She's lost to her twice before, never got a win. So actually getting the win is quite good for her because it would not be great. You don't want a 3-0 record, but at the same time, turning around a head-to-head is actually something that's quite commendable. So I think she looked good, a bit patchy at times, but Mertens, I mean, she's that sort of player that will make you keep hitting balls. And if you do start missing, it can go a bit awry like it did in that second set.
Yeah, she's a tricky customer, especially on this sort of surface, definitely. I mean, one other player who did crash out early, Naomi Osaka, lost to Camila Osorio 6-4, 6-4. Now, Chris, she went on social media afterwards and she said, worst match I've ever played in my life. Wow, I'm so sorry to everyone who watched that. Not pretty from Osaka out in California.
Also, probably if you're sorry, you're not like, this is a huge compliment to me.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thanks.
But I don't think she's trying to take anything away from her opponent. I think genuinely when you do hit over 50 unforced errors in a straight sets match and you need, 24 points to win a set or something like that, it just feels like you gave that match away. And it was as bad as it could get. And unfortunately for Osaka, she said this is a blip. It doesn't have to be like it's a bump in the road, but this is it's a pretty sizable bump. It's almost like you've gone over, like you've bumped into the surface, the pavement and then kept going. It just feels like it's like a huge bump as opposed to something else. So
Mm.
I just think we never know what's going to happen with Naomi. I really hope it comes together, but this is not a good sign.
No, and I mean it's so competitive as well. I mean, you look at the players left; it is a really full. It doesn't feel like there are any gaps here. I mean, we've got Paulini, Vekic, Belinda Bencic, following up that that very good run she had in Australia. Mukova, Svitolina. Yeah, it's almost a who's who crowd in round four. One player I just want to call out before we go to a break: Sonay Kartal. GB's Sonay Kartal. She's come in here, reached round four. This is an incredible result already for her. Had a very good win against Haddad Meyer, the 16th seed. Followed that up against Kudermetova, Polina Kudermetova, I should say, in round three, and has almost kind of this like free bonus shot, I think, against the top seed Arina Sabalenka. But Chris, this is an incredible story because I don't think we were expecting this from Kartal on the WTA tour in this sort of tournament. Even though she's been playing well on the ITF circuit a little further down.
Well, I mean, she checked out of her hotel because she'd lost in qualifying. So she thought it's game over for me. And then thankfully, because of one of my favorites, Sloane Stephens, pulling out, she's had a little operation, I think, on her foot from an injury. Sonay Kartal was gifted this opportunity. So I think she's playing for Sloane now. She's embodied, peak Sloane Stephens, but she's playing so well and making the most of an opportunity, I think you can definitely say. And although she may not win her next round, I think the point she's got to go really pushing towards top 50 now in the world, that will really help her when it comes to tournaments all over the world qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. She should be getting direct entry a lot more into those WTA Tour events. So we'll see if she, as I say, kind of sticks maybe to the ITFs or kind of actually balances it out a little bit more. Because I think we've seen this week she's got the game certainly. I think to kind of be competitive on the tour. So yeah, really really exciting to see.